In the start of this chapter, we see a large-scale fitness center in Gangnam, Seoul, a small office room for employees. We see a person on YouTube. His name is Choi Kang-hyuk, and his channel name is Best Gym Rat TV. He is talking to his viewers. Hello everyone, because of all your requests, today, I'll be doing a mukbang of the honey chicken and kicks beer that have been trending recently. Then I'll get right to eating. He is eating and says that this is really good. A sip of beer too. I'm sure you can tell from his muscles, but Kang-hyuk was obsessed with working out. He was not a gym rat from birth, of course. There is actually a reason why he became like this. It was because he had once been so injured that it would have been hard for him to walk if he did no work on his muscles. He was severely injured while on a special forces mission. He began taking physical therapy and going to chiropractor to recover. After that, he began taking on more forms of exercises such as yoga, Pilates, and everything that he heard was good for you. He even studied nutrition to better his diet. One day, he became the nation's best gym rat. Nation's best fitness trainer. So why is he streaming mukbang? While worrying about his muscles in the corner of this fitness center, it is because of the pandemic disaster that had hit the entire world. In order to keep up with the maintenance of the gyms, Kang-hyuk had no choice but to become a streamer. However, the profit were nowhere near enough to upkeep 5 gym locations. Kang-hyuk viewers ask, "Are you crying?" He tells them that there's something in his eyes. He says, "Then see you tomorrow, everyone. Like, subscribe, and click the bell notification, please." He turns off the stream and says that he is worried about tomorrow. He says that he ate fried chicken and beer that gave him so many calories. So he has to work out now, but that will be really hard on the body because of the alcohol intake. He thought to himself, how did things get like this? He says that he will rest for today because the doctor told him that he needs to rest. Doctor tells him that he is losing his hair because of stress. Kang-hyuk gets shocked after hearing that. Doctor tells him that he didn't notice this because he is very healthy, but his body is already on the brink of breakdown because of all the stress. You need to cut down on your work. Otherwise, you will become bald. He imagines himself as a bald man and thinks that if he'll become bald, then no girl will like him and he'll have to live alone forever. Doctor says to him that he'll prescribe him some medicines for his problem, but the most important thing he has to do is to decrease his stress. He needs to rest in order to live without getting bald. Kang-hyuk is thinking, what should he do? He doesn't know what to do. He used to work and exercise. He suddenly starts swiping on his phone and says that not this one. He remembers that when he was child, he used to read Murim novels all the time. He forgot this because of his busy life. For Kang-hyuk, who had grown up poor under his grandparents, borrowing Murim novels from the corner bookstore was a fond memory for him. Kang-hyuk remembers that his grandpa used to lecture him for going there so often. He finds something and says, this person, author Gae Jeong. He named 2 novels, Absolute Demon's Return and Unorthodox Factions Tyranny. He really loved those as a kid. He sees a new story named Shaolin Monk Chronicles. He noticed that he had never seen this title before. Plot of the story. Mu Jin, the protagonist, who just entered the Shaolin Temple, will pave a new path as a martial artist. He says, should I take a peek? He starts to read it. After reading for some time, he started to love the story. He says that he feels relaxed. He thought to himself that when was the last time he felt relaxed like this? It's like he is back in his childhood days. While reading the story, he fell asleep. His phone starts shining. We hear a voice saying, Mu Jin, wake up.
Mu Jin.
We need to get to morning exercise. He wakes up and should. Morning workout. Someone is standing in front of him. We see that there is a kid wearing orange clothes. He says to Kang-hyuk that they're gonna be late. Everyone else already left. If they go late, they're gonna get yelled at. Kang-hyuk asks him, kid, how you get into my house? Kang-hyuk thinks, who is this kid? Who shaved his head like that? Kid tells him that he is not a kid and also older than him. Kang-hyuk asks him, bigger than me? Kang-hyuk is 180 centimeters. Body fat 8 to 10%. Job, personal trainer. Past, Special Forces.
90 kg. Per rep max 650.
Kang-hyuk asks him, are your eyes hurt? He thought to himself, how did this kid even get into his house? He suddenly gets teleported somewhere else. He is very confused. He asks, what's wrong with my hair? And where am I? Suddenly he realized that the boy previously called him Mujin. And it sounds familiar. That's the name of the main character from the novel that he was just reading. He wonders why he is Mujin, and where is he? And his body, his muscles. He just fell asleep after reading. Kang Hyuk says that this is a dream. He thinks that he did have a lot of dreams like this back when he read a lot of novels. Boy asks what he is even talking about. We're gonna be really late. Kang Hyuk says to him, let's go. He thinks that he is a very adorable kid. They're going for training. Kang Hyuk is still thinking that this is a dream, and he will enjoy this as much as he can. Their master says to them late to the first schedule of the day. They need to be taught a lesson. He asks them to take their places. Kang Hyuk says that this dream feels real. Master tells them that they're gonna start with a horse stance. Kang Hyuk thinks of horse stance? Is he talking about squatting? He takes a look at the students and analyzes how they are doing horse stance. He thinks, wait, what the hell? They're gonna wreck their knees if they do it like that. As Kang Hyuk went through rehabilitation training, he started to do proper exercises. He knew just how important lower body and core exercises were more than anyone else. There were times when he saw trainers who taught wrong exercises and focused solely on upper body exercises. They're missing out on the core exercising, he thought. This ridiculous exercise that's unfolding before him. Kang Hyuk looked at the students and says that their legs are too far apart. They need to straighten their backs and naturally lean forward. It's a situation where a true gym goer can't tolerate. Master tells them that the lower body is the foundation of martial arts. If you aren't able to use your lower body to maintain your balance, you won't be able to exert your strength properly in any punching or staff techniques. Kang Hyuk says what is he saying to these kids who don't even have the right posture? Fortunately or unfortunately, he's not the kind of man to just allow others to exercise with the wrong posture, even if that means it's only happening within a dream. Kang Hyuk shout, you ignorant rascals who don't know a single thing about exercising. Everyone gets shocked after hearing what he just said. Boy asks him, what's wrong? Master gets angry and says to him, how dare he shout nonsense in the middle of a training session? Other masters who are standing there also say to him, how dare he make you make up excuses just because the training is tough? Do you think that's behavior befitting of a Shaolin disciple? Get into position right now. Kang Hyuk thinks, I wonder if it's because this is a martial arts novel that I can sense energy from their shouts. Even so, I need to say what needs to be said. Kang Hyuk tells them that he simply pointed out that something was wrong. Kang Hyuk thinks about the member who asks him if it is possible to hit 500 kilograms for the big 3 in 3 months. A video on YouTube says it's possible. Kang Hyuk asks him to focus on exercising rather than talking. Kang Hyuk thinks that this is way easier as compared to dealing with that horrible member. Master gets very angry and tells him that he is a Shaolin disciple. Are you saying that the training of Shaolin is wrong? Kang Hyuk is happy and thinks that this dream is very realistic. He decided to play along and speak like a martial artist would. Kang Hyuk tells him that their training is wrong. The reason is if we keep training with the current method, we'll injure our knees and suffer greatly in our later years. Master thinks that he is making an excuse because he is weak. Kang Hyuk asks him, isn't martial arts for the weak to train their bodies and minds? But you're saying this isn't something the weak can learn. What a contradictory statement. Second Master appears there and tells him that the way Shaolin trains is different from what you've mentioned. We train in martial arts so that we can improve ourselves and achieve enlightenment. Kang Hyuk says, I see. Are you saying that the Shaolin is a place where the weak can't achieve enlightenment? Master says that he is saying that they train their bodies in a harsh manner so that we can train our minds. The mind of a human is weak. We see comfort in the time of difficulty and evil thoughts invade our minds easily. We're training our minds in advance so that we can endure and make it through such times. Kang Hyuk says to him, I guess training our mind is only needed when we're young? Master asks, what nonsense are you suddenly spouting? Kang Hyuk says, isn't that what you're saying? You said that in order to train our minds, it's okay to damage our knees when we're young. After we grow old with a damaged body, we won't need to go through tough times like that. Does that mean that if we suffer a little when we're young, we'll definitely be able to achieve enlightenment? Now students start talking that this feels weird. He points his finger towards a monk and says, the monk over there. I wonder how much he's gone though. For him to still be unable to achieve enlightenment at such an old age, everyone gets shocked. Master thinks that how dare this brat say that to the first-class disciple. Hi, Young. Young gets angry and shouts. Kang Hyuk feels the pressure. He thinks this is what a first-class disciple is like. Young tells him that he heard everything that he said. Like what the second-class disciple said, the martial arts of a Buddhist group is usually used to train oneself. That means it's just a tool to reach enlightenment. However, our martial arts are different. Kang Hyuk asks him what's different. He tells him that their martial arts are used to rescue the masses. They use it to protect them from evil and demons that harass them. Kang Hyuk smiles and asks him, "Are you saying we are doing training that'll damage our knees so that we can protect the masses?" June thinks, this child. If we leave him be, there's a chance he'll bring about a bad influence to those around him. But the grown-ups of a Buddhist group can't punish a new and young monk personally. In that case, Jung says to him that if he truly think that the training methods of the Shaolin is wrong, then prove it yourself. Kang Hyuk asks him how he can prove it. Jung says to him that since their training is wrong, that means you know the correct way to train. If that's the case, I want you to try to win against those who've learned by the Shaolin training method. Kang Hyuk gets scared because he thinks that he has to fight Jung and defeat him in the battle. Jung tells him that he is going to fight against someone who joined them at the same time as him. He calls Mu Gong. Jung says, "If what you said is true, I'll give you a chance to prove yourself. I'll give you 7 days starting from today. After you train yourself in the methods you consider to be correct, you'll spar with him." Kang Hyuk thinks, that guy's obviously of a different weight class from me though. He calls this fair? Seriously, acting like he cares about fairness. He wants to keep me pinned down while leaving me no room to complain or talk back by using someone who joined at the same time. What a horrible senior. Jung thought to himself that now he has created this situation, Kang Hyuk won't be able to say anything. Kang Hyuk says to him, "All right then, I'll do just that." He thinks that he can win easily against this brat. You just wait and see after 1 week. Jung says to him, "Mu Jin, you've chosen to take the hard path. Ba." He says to everyone to start their training. From now on we are going to call Kang Hyuk as Mu Jin. Boy says to Mu Jin, "Why did you do that? Just go and apologize to Monk Young now, okay?" This boy's name is Mu Yul. Master asks him to go back into his position and start his training. No one is happy after hearing Mu Jin talking to a senior like this. Young thinks, "I'll see you in 7 days." This is the end of the video. Subscribe for the next part.